And we're going to do something today that I know you have done before, and you probably really remember it well. So we're on the back side of note sheet 3, starting what's called P4. Find the slope. We know how to find slope, I hope. Anybody want to share your thoughts on how to find slope? What? Now, y equals mx plus b is called the slope-intercept form of the line. And this guy right here is the slope.
You think it's like y minus y.
There you go. We're going to actually find the slope. Now, in a few minutes, we're going here. We're going to do this in a few minutes. But we can't do this unless we know how to find m first. We've got to be able to find the slope. So the first question, 1a, says here are our 2 points. And we're going to find the slope. Okay? So here we go. M equals, how did you say we did it, Jamal?
Y minus y over x minus x.
Y minus y over x minus x. Now, I just arbitrarily said y2 minus y1. If you do the second y minus the first y, you have to do the second x minus the first x. Now, could we do 2 minus 8? Absolutely. But if we did 2 minus 8, we have to do negative 1 minus 6. In this case, the order does matter. I don't care what order you do it, but you have to do both letters in the same order. Are you hearing me? Okay. So, if I do 8 minus 2, then I'll do 6 minus negative 1. So the slope of this line would be 6/7. Hopefully you're real comfortable with that because you've done that a lot. So why don't you do the next one? On your own there, tell me what you get for the next one, number 2. I'll do it up here, but don't look up here until you're done so we check it. Negative 1? Everybody got a negative 1? Awesome. Okay, good. Now, number 2 is a little bit trickier. It says you have these 2 points, and we know that the slope is 3/4. So you have to figure out what that missing coordinate is. Brittany, you have any idea at all? It's kind of a trick question.
Is it y minus y over equals and then put the 6x plus or minus?
Okay, you guys have good memories. That's actually called the point slope form. And that's if we want to write the equation of a line. So again, we're going to do that in a few minutes. We are absolutely going to use that in a few minutes. But right now, we got to do this problem. So we are going to do exactly what we just did. I'm going to say y minus y over x minus x. So 6 minus 5 over x minus 4. Now, what does this have to equal? This is the slope, you guys. I did y minus y, x minus x. This is the slope. What does the slope have to equal in this problem? 3/4. So I did my slope formula, y minus y over x minus x, and then I set that equal to the slope that they gave me. Now, this simplifies. What's 6 minus 5? 1. So I have 1 over x minus 4 equals 3/4. Does anybody have an idea how to solve that?
Times by x minus 4.
And not just x minus 4, but 4. So in other words, we're simply going to cross multiply. Remember doing that? It's called a proportion. You can cross multiply. So we would have 4 on this side and 3 times x minus 4 on that side. So I'm going to cross multiply. I'm out of room down there, so I'll come back up here. 4 equals 3x minus 12 if I distribute. What now? Add 16, or add 12. So x is 16/3. These are both really good ideas, and we're going to use those in a few minutes. But right now, we're focusing on just using our slope formula, which is this one. Okay, let's try B. Can somebody set this up for me? Jordan?
Y minus -2 over 1 minus 3
Equals?
-2/3.
Oh, that is awesome, Jordan, thank you. This is the slope. How do you find slope? Y minus y over x minus x. Now, before you cross multiply, let's clean this up. What would this fraction here, if we cleaned this up right here, what would this become? This guy right here.
Y plus 2.
Thank you. Y plus 2 over,
Y minus 3.
what's that?
Negative 2.
-2. Now I can cross multiply. So here we go. When I multiply these, I get 4. And when I multiply these, I get 3 times y plus 2. So 4 equals 3y plus 6 if I distribute. And if I subtract 6, y equals -2/3. Does that come on? What do you think about that?
I feel like that.
Good. Very good. All right, just a couple more sections, then we'll look at some homework. Part 3 says use point slope. So for part 3, this is the point slope form right here. This is what we're going to be using. So the given says we have these 2 points, -1, 2, and 6, 4. And we are actually going to write the equation of the line. Jennifer, you with me? We're going to write the equation of the line going through those 2 points. Okay. I need to find this first. M is the letter for slope, and I can't do the problem, either of these problems, without the slope. So we just talked about that. What is the slope of this line? 4 minus 2, 6 minus negative 1. Oh, yucky. It's going to be a fraction. But that's okay. I get 2 over 7 as my slope. Okay? Now, we gotta go a step further. Now we're gonna actually write the equation of the line using this form. Now, do you guys remember how to do that? Do you know how this works? Mr. Devine?
Can't you take one of the coordinates and plug it into the y equals x plus b and
Now, if we were doing this, we absolutely would. We're doing this form, but we still do what you said. We pick one of the points. I think I'm gonna pick this one because it doesn't have any negatives. I can pick either one. I can pick any point I want. Whatever flips your switch, pick it. I'm picking this one. Now that becomes, Mr. Devine, this becomes my x1, y1. See in the formula here, we have x1 and y1. The point you pick becomes that. We already know m. So here we go. Y minus what? 4, good, equals 2/7 x minus 6. Y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. Everybody okay with that? All right, what do you do now? You distribute. So y minus 4 equals 2/7 x minus 12/7. Now, is everybody okay with 12/7? I kind of did that in my head. You okay with that? Remember, this is 6 over 1. Multiply straight across. All right, one more thing and you're done. All you have to do is what? Move the 4. So I have y equal to 2/7 x minus 12/7 plus 4. I just recopied this up here, so it's down too low. Now, I got to take care of this. We get a common denominator. Now, in a minute, I'm going to show you how to do it on your calculator, too, if you don't already know. What's the common denominator? So 4 over 1 is how many sevenths? 28. Negative 12, would that give me 16/7? So I used my point slope form to come up with the equation of the line. Those of you with graphic calculators, now if you have another kind of calculator on you, that's fine, you can do the same thing. But those of you with graphic calculators, I'm going to show you how to do this on the calculator. We needed to add negative 12/7 and 4. So let's put in negative 12/7. Does everybody know where the negative is? It's that little, it's in the very bottom, it's the very last button on the calculator. So put in negative 12 divided by 7, okay? And then plus 4 equals. Now, did yours come out to be a decimal?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you do. If you press the math button, look where I'm pointing, it's the third one down. If you press the math button, the very top option is frac. Just press enter, enter, and it gives you 16/7. It says math on it. I don't know. So let's try that again. We put in negative 12 divided by 7 and add 4. We're putting in this right here. And then since it's a decimal and I want a fraction, I hit math, enter, enter. And it gives me 16/7. Now, if you have a different calculator, or like a non-grapher, you can do the same thing, you just obviously different buttons. Okay, great. Now, how comfortable are you trying B on your own? Could you do exactly what we just did with the points 3, 2, and 5, 5? Craig, what's step 1?
Find slope.
Bingo. Did you already do that?
Yeah.
Did you get 3 halves?
Uh-huh.
Okay, super. Good job. Hannah, what point did you use? Remember, you have to pick a point. Which one did you use?
5,
5, 5. So Hannah used this point, and then what did you write, Hannah?
y minus 5 is equal to 3 over 2 parentheses x minus 5.
You are exactly right. Very, very nicely done. So Franny, what would we do next? We got it set up now, point slope form. What would you do next? So we have y minus 5 equals 3 halves x minus 15 halves. Very good. Then Austin Cox, what do we need to do now? We're almost done.
Just solve for x.
Actually, we want to solve for y. We want to get y by itself. So we'll add 5 to both sides. And if I'm not comfortable doing that by hand, I now know how to do it on my calculator. If I'm doing it by hand, it's negative 15 halves plus 10 halves. So you should get minus 5 halves as your answer, or as that part of the answer. Katie, you good with that?
Yeah. When you add the 5 on the other side, where does that go?
Yeah, you have to add the negative 15 halves and the 5. Now, they don't have a common denominator because it's negative 15 halves and 5 over 1. So I turn the 5 over 1 into 10 over 2, and then I can add them. Or I do it on my calculator and use my math frac button. Bless you. Okay? All right, 2 more, and then we'll go over some homework questions and be done for the day. Now we're going to do the slope-intercept form. Notice the direction, or the problems look the same, 2 points. But it says use slope-intercept, which is this form right here. In the real world, if you find 2 points laying in the hallway and you write the equation in the line, no one cares how you do it. But in this class, because I'm supposed to be teaching you both ways, we're going to have some problems that say use point slope, and we're going to have some problems that say use slope-intercept. So now we're doing problems using slope-intercept. The good news is you start the same way. Which is what? Cole Peterson? Find the slope. So 5 minus 1, negative 1 minus 4. It looks like our slope is negative 4/5. Now remember, we're doing this now. This is what we're doing now, okay? So does anybody remember doing this last year or some other year? Ashley, no memory at all? I bet once we do it, you will remember. Mr. Devine?
Don't you take the coordinate and plug it in?
Exactly. You do exactly what we did before, but using a different format. So we're gonna pick a point. I'll just pick that one. And that becomes actually your x and your y. So in your equation now, we have our x, we have our y, and we figured out our m. So the only thing we don't have is that. So we're gonna figure out what that is. So 1 equals negative 4/5 times 4 plus b. Does it look familiar now, Ashley?
Yeah.
So 1 equals, now I'm gonna multiply these together. Remember how you multiply fractions straight across. So that's gonna be negative 16/5. When you write a fraction that's negative, the negative can go on the top, it can go on the bottom, or it can go in the middle. So don't let that confuse you. You just need a negative in there somewhere. I gotta add 16/5 to the other side. Now, I'm either gonna add it on my calculator and use the math rock button, or I'm gonna recognize that's 5/5 plus 16/5. So B is 21/5. And then I write my final answer. Y equals negative 4/5 x plus 21/5. M, we found M. B, we found B. Okay, one more, last one of the day. See how far you can get on your own. Again, we're using slope-intercept form, and our points are -3, -2, and 1, 2. Well, I think this one's going to be a little easier. Savannah, step 1.
2 minus 2.
So we're finding the slope, right? So 2 minus -2. 2 minus -2 over.
1 minus negative.
And what's so cool about this?
They're just added.
Yeah, so it's going to become 4 over 4, which is 1. So we got a really nice slope. Erica, what's the next step? She found the slope, she got 1. Did you get 1?
Yes.
Okay. Then what do we do?
You want to plug it in to the
Which point are you going to use?
1 and 2. And then you plug it in, so it's 2 equals 1 times 1 plus 1.
Perfect. Because this is x and this is y. So 2 equals 1 plus b. We don't need a calculator. Please tell me you're not using a calculator. And b equals 1. Do not forget to write your answer, though. Your answer is y equals x plus 1. Now, you can say 1x if you want, but that's the line. Okay? Well, that's what you're going to be doing tonight for homework. Let's put that aside. Did anybody have a question about the other P3 problems that you had last night? Your inequalities. Did anybody have any trouble with any of last night's homework? 67. Okay, let's look at 67. Oh, don't be tired. Today's Thursday. Don't we have an assembly tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I want you to think about the zillions of times in your life that you have had an equation, let's say, that looked like this, and you factor it, and then you did what? Because this is already factored. The parentheses are already in it. What's the step that comes after the factoring when you solve an equation like this? You take each one of them and set it equal to 0. Does everybody remember that? So with the equation they gave you, which is already factored, you don't have to do that part. You take each piece and set it equal to 0. Take this parentheses and this parentheses and set them equal to 0. So what are the answers to the problem? 0 and -1. Okay. Who else? Anybody else have a question about one of them? 53. Okay, 53 is an actual inequality. That problem we just did, Julian, was kind of a like review-ish type thing. 53, this is what we talked about. This is one of the hard ones. So hopefully I copied that right. All right, how did you start it?
I distributed 1/2 with, so 1/2 x.
I think that's a great way to start, especially since 1/2 times 4 is 2. Yeah, I think that's a great way to start. Now, what did you do next?
And then I distributed the other side too.
Oh,
So
okay. I think I've done
I
that
wrote
one
mine like
time.
that too, but, so then 15 minus 5x.
Yes, that's good, okay.
And then I added 2 on both sides.
Did this guy?
Yes.
Okay. So 1/2 x, these are gone, minus 2x, less than 17 minus 5x, okay?
And then what I did with like the 1/2 and the 2, I put like a 1 over it and then like, I guess like cancel it out so it would just be x.
Oh, you see, that's where we ran into a problem. What we might consider doing at this point is, because the fraction's bothering you, these two actually are being added or subtracted, so if we want to deal with them, we have to have a common denominator. I don't want to mess with that, so in keeping with kind of our theme for the last couple days, I'm going to multiply everything in the whole problem by 2.
Okay.
Now, that will get rid of this totally, and I will have just plain x. Minus 4x, 34 minus 10x. So, certainly, if you are comfortable with the fractions, it's a half, it's a simple fraction, you can go ahead and keep it. But if you're uncomfortable, let's just get rid of it. So it times everything by 2, because that's our common denominator. So then I have negative 3x. And let's see, if I add 10x over here, I'll have 7x less than 34. I got x less than or equal to 34/7. Anybody do this problem? Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Good. Does that make sense, Lexi? Okay. Yeah, if those fractions bother you, you could also, if you're allowed to use a calculator, just take your calculator out and do 1/2 minus 2, and then do your math frac thing, and get that. Okay. Anybody else have a question? So we're good on those? All right, I'm gonna give you a few minutes, do some last minute summer reading, planning, or start your homework. Your homework is on P4, so if you need to take a picture, you will need to take a picture of page 40. Why didn't you put your name on it to start with? All right, fine, then don't change anything else, just add your name. You did? Awesome.